Did you know that your body language can be the deciding factor in whether you ace your next job interview or not? In fact, studies show that 93% of communication is nonverbal. But here is the kicker. There is one surprising body language mistake that almost everyone makes without realizing it. If you want to learn what mistake that is, along with mastering the 8 crucial types of body language that can make or break your interview, then stick around. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. It could be the game changer for landing your dream job. So, why is this important? Well, imagine this. You walk into an interview feeling confident, but your body language is all over the place. You might be saying the right things, but if your body isn't backing you up, you could be sending mixed signals. That's why today we are going to break down the 8 types of body language that can significantly impact your job interview performance. Now, we all know that first impressions matter. But did you know that they are often formed within the first few seconds of meeting someone? That's right. In those precious moments when you first meet your interviewer, your body language is already speaking volumes. It's telling them whether you're confident, nervous, or maybe even a bit disinterested. And trust me, guys, those first impressions can be hard to change. Think about this. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person's words said one thing, but their body language told a completely different story? It's confusing, isn't it? That's because our brains are wired to pick up on nonverbal cues. In a job interview, your body language needs to reinforce what you are saying. If you're talking about how excited you are about the job, but your body language looks bored or uninterested, the interviewer is going to pick up on that. All right, let's discuss about the first type of body language, eye contact. Maintaining good eye contact during a job interview is crucial. Why? Because it shows that you're engaged, confident, and interested in the conversation. When you make eye contact, it builds a connection with the interviewer and signals that you're paying attention. However, it's important to strike a balance. In some cultures. Direct eye contact is a sign of confidence and honesty, while in others, it might be seen as aggressive or disrespectful. So, if you're interviewing with someone from a different cultural background, be mindful of these differences. How to maintain eye contact. Now, let's talk about how to maintain eye contact without coming off as creepy or intense. Here is a simple tip. Aim to maintain eye contact for about 50 to 70% of the conversation. This shows that you're interested and engaged without making the interviewer uncomfortable. One trick is to look at different parts of the interviewer's face. Move your gaze between their eyes, nose, and mouth. This creates the illusion of continuous eye contact without staring. Another technique is to use the triangle method. Imagine a triangle on the interviewer's face and shift your gaze along the points of the triangle. Heading on to the common mistakes, let's go over some common mistakes people make with eye contact during an interview. The first one is avoiding eye contact altogether. This can make you seem nervous, unprepared, or even dishonest. On the other hand, staring too intensely can come off as aggressive or unsettling. Just remember, the key is to find a comfortable middle ground. Avoid looking down at your notes or the floor too often. If you need to refer to your notes, do so briefly and then return your gaze to the interviewer. And if you're interviewing with a panel, make sure to distribute your eye contact evenly among all the interviewers, not just the person asking questions. Practicing eye contact. Maintaining good eye contact takes practice. One way to improve is to practice with a friend or a family member. Have them ask you interview questions while you focus on maintaining comfortable eye contact. You can also practice in front of a mirror or record yourself to see how you come across. Just remember, the goal is to appear natural and engaged. Second element is facial expressions. Okay, let's talk about facial expressions. These are incredibly powerful because they convey your emotions and reactions instantly. In a job interview, your facial expressions can show that you're enthusiastic, confident, and engaged. Conversely, they can also betray nervousness or disinterest if you're not careful. Positive facial expressions. So what are some positive facial expressions you should aim for? A genuine smile goes a long way. It shows that you're friendly, approachable, and positive. Even a slight smile can make a big difference in how you're perceived. Along with smiling, nodding occasionally when the interviewer is speaking can show that you're attentive and understanding. It is also important to match your facial expressions to the tone of the conversation. If the interviewer shares something exciting about the company, let your face reflect that excitement. If they're discussing a more serious topic, your expression should show that you're thoughtfully considering what they're saying. Negative facial expressions. Now, let's cover some expressions to avoid. Frowning, grimacing, or any other negative expressions can make you seem uninterested or critical. Even if you're feeling nervous or unsure, try to maintain a neutral or positive expression. Just remember, the interviewer is picking up on these cues and forming an impression of you. Another thing to watch out for is the blank or disengaged expressions. If your face doesn't move much or shows no reaction, it can seem like you're not fully present in the conversation. And even if you're concentrating hard, make sure your face shows some level of engagement. Practicing facial expressions. So, how do you get better at using positive facial expressions? One great way is to practice in front of a mirror. Try answering common interview questions and watch out how your face responds. Are you smiling? Are you nodding? Are your expressions matching the tone of your answers? Recording yourself during mock interviews can also be incredibly helpful. Play back the recordings and look for moments where your expressions may not align with what you're saying. This will help you become more aware of your facial expressions and how to adjust them. Reading the interviewer's expression. Pay attention to the interviewer's facial expressions as well. They can give you valuable feedback on how the interview is going. If they're smiling and nodding, it's a good sign that they're engaged. If they look confused or disengaged, it might be a cue to clarify your answers or engage them more directly. The third element is posture. Alright, now let's talk about posture. Your posture says a lot about your confidence and professionalism. In a job interview, sitting up straight with your shoulders back and your head held high can project an image of confidence and attentiveness. Good posture shows that you're serious about the opportunity and ready to engage. Types of posture. There are generally two types of posture, open and closed. Open postures involves uncrossed arms and legs, which signals openness and receptivity. This type of postures make you appear more approachable and confident. On the other hand, closed posture like crossing your arms or legs can make you seem defensive or closed off. When you're sitting in the interview, aim for an open posture. Keep your feet flat on the floor and your hands resting on your lap or the arms of the chair. This will help you appear more relaxed and engaged. Common posture mistakes. Let's go over some common posture mistakes to avoid. Slouching. Slouching can make you look disinterested and unprofessional. It can also project a lack of confidence. Leaning back too far. Leaning back too far too much can come off as an overly casual or even arrogant. It might give the impression that you're not taking the interview or the opportunity seriously. Crossing arms or legs. This closed posture can make you seem defensive or uncomfortable. Keep your posture open to appear more approachable. Fidgeting. Constantly shifting in your seat or tapping your foot can be distracting and may signal nervousness. Tips for the good posture. Maintaining good posture can be a bit challenging, especially if you're nervous. Here are some practical tips to help you keep your posture in check. Sit up straight. Imagine a string pulling you up from the top of your head. This will help you sit up straight without feeling stiff. Relax your shoulders. Keep your shoulders back, but relaxed tension in your shoulders can make you look uncomfortable. Feet flat on the floor. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. This helps you stay grounded and stable. Lean slightly forward. Leaning slightly towards the interviewer shows that you're engaged and interested in the conversation. Just avoid leaning too far forward, which can invade personal space. Practicing good posture. To improve your posture, practice sitting and standing with good posture regularly. Try exercises that strengthen your core and back muscles, as this will help you maintain a straight and relaxed posture more easily. Another helpful tip is to do a few stretches before your interview. This can help release any tension in your shoulders and back, making it easier to sit up straight and comfortably during the interview. The fourth element of the body language we're heading on to is hand gestures. Positive hand gestures. Alright, let's talk about hand gestures. Using the right hand gestures can emphasize your points and make your communication more engaging. Natural open hand gestures can convey confidence and openness. When you use hand gestures effectively, it shows that you're comfortable and in control. For example, open palms facing towards can signal honesty and openness. It's a great way to show that you're approachable and sincere. Controlled movements like gently gesturing while making a point can also help emphasize what you're saying without being distracting. Negative hand gestures. Now let's go over some hand gestures to avoid. Excessive fidgeting like tapping your fingers or playing with your pen can make you look nervous and unprepared. Pointing fingers can come off as aggressive, so it's best to avoid this gesture, and overly dramatic moments can be distracting and might seem that you're less professional. Instead, aim for smooth and deliberate gestures. Keep your hands visible but not overly animated. This helps in maintaining a balanced and professional demeanor. Common mistakes. Let's highlight some common mistakes people make with hand gestures during an interview. Hiding hands. Keeping your hands hidden like in your pockets or under the table can make you seem closed off or anxious. Keep your hands visible and engaged. Over-gesticulating. Too many hand movements can be distracting. It's all about balance. Use gestures to support your words, not overshadow them. Touching your face. Frequently touching your face or hair can signal nervousness. Try to avoid these unconscious moments. Crossing arms. Crossing your arms can create a barrier and make you seem defensive. Keep your arms open and relaxed. Using hand gestures effectively. So how do you use hand gestures effectively in a job interview? Here are a few tips. Emphasize points. Use gestures to highlight important points. For instance, when listing reasons, count them off on your fingers. Stay natural. Keep your gestures natural and relaxed. Forced or exaggerated gestures can come across as inauthentic. Match your words. Your gestures should complement your words, not contradict them. Ensure your movements align with what you're saying. Practice. Just like with eye contact and posture, practicing your hand gestures can make them more natural. Record yourself for practice in front of a mirror to see how your gestures come across. Practicing hand gestures. To get better at using hand gestures, practice during your mock interviews. Pay attention on how you naturally use your hands and work on making your gestures more intentional. Watching videos of great speakers can also provide inspiration and examples of effective hand gestures. Heading on to mirroring. What is mirroring? Now, let's explain the concept of mirroring. Mirroring is a powerful technique where you subtly mimic the interviewer's body language, gestures, and speech patterns. This creates a sense of rapport and connection because people tend to like others who are similar to them. It's a psychological trick that can make the interviewer feel more comfortable and positively inclined towards you. How to mirror effectively? So, how do you mirror effectively without it being obvious or creepy? The key is to be subtle and natural, and we have some tips for it. Posture. If the interviewer is leaning slightly forward, you can also lean forward a bit. But if they're sitting back and relaxed, you can do the same. Just be sure not to exaggerate their movements. Gestures. If the interviewer uses certain hand gestures, you can incorporate similar gestures into your responses. Again, keep it subtle. Speech patterns. Pay attention to the interviewer's tone, pace, and volume. If they speak slowly and calmly, try to match that style. If they're more animated, you can be slightly more energetic. Facial expressions. Reflect their expressions. If they smile, smile back. If they look serious, match that seriousness. Examples of mirroring. Let's go through a few examples of mirroring in action. Posture mirroring. If the interviewer crosses their legs, wait a few seconds and then cross yours. If they lean in while speaking, do the same when it's your turn to talk. Gesture mirroring. If they use hand gestures to explain something, use similar gestures when you're responding or asking questions. Speech mirroring. If the interviewer speaks in a calm and quiet tone, mirror that tone when you respond. If they use a lot of enthusiasm, show some enthusiasm in your voice as well. Avoiding over-mirroring. One important thing to remember is not to overdo it. Over-mirroring can come across as insincere or even mocking, which is definitely not the impression you want to make. The goal is to create natural and comfortable interaction, not to mimic every single move the interviewer makes. Here are some common mistakes to avoid when mirroring. Being too obvious. If your mirroring is too obvious, it can feel forced and awkward. The key is to be subtle. Mimicking the negative behaviors. Don't mirror negative body language like slouching or fidgeting. Stick to positive, confident behaviors. Timing. Don't mirror immediately. Give it a few seconds after the interviewer makes a gesture or a moment before you mirror. This makes it seem more natural. Overdoing it. Remember, less is more. You don't need to mirror every single moment or gesture, just enough to create a sense of connection and bond. The sixth element we are heading on is the handshake, the importance of a handshake. All right, let's begin to talk about something that often happens at the very beginning and end of a job interview, the handshake. A good handshake can set a positive tone for the entire interview. It's your first physical interaction with the interviewer, and it can leave a lasting impression. A firm, confident handshake shows that you're professional and confident, while a weak or overly aggressive handshake can send the wrong stage for you. Common handshake mistakes. Let's go over some common handshake mistakes to avoid. Limp handshake. A limp handshake can make you seem unsure or uninterested. Practice finding that perfect balance between too soft and too firm. Overly strong handshake. Squeezing too hard can come across as aggressive. The goal is to be firm but gentle. Holding too long. Holding on for too long can make things awkward. Aim for 2 to 3 seconds and then just release. Avoiding eye contact. Not making eye contact can make you seem nervous or disengaged. Always pair your handshake with a friendly, confident look. Tips for a good handshake. So, how do you deliver the perfect handshake? Here are some tips. Firmness. Aim for a firm handshake but not too strong. You want to show confidence without seeming aggressive. Your grip should be steady and comfortable. Eye contact. Maintain eye contact while shaking hands. This shows that you're engaged and confident. Combine it with a friendly smile to make a positive impression. Duration. A good handshake should last for about 2 to 3 seconds. Too short can seem abrupt and too long can be awkward. A couple of up and down moments are enough. Positioning. Extend your hand with your thumb pointing up. Your hand should meet the interviewer's hand web to web. This ensures a solid grip. Dry hands. Make sure your hands are clean and dry. If you're prone to sweaty palms, discreetly wipe your hand before the interview. Cultural considerations. It's also important to consider cultural differences in handshake practices. In some cultures, a firm handshake is standard, while in others, a softer handshake is more appropriate. If you know the cultural background of your interviewer, it's worth researching their customs. If in doubt, a medium firm handshake is usually a safe bet. The final handshake. Don't forget the handshake at the end of the interview. This is your chance to leave a final positive impression. Stand up, offer a firm handshake, thank the interviewer for their time, and maintain good eye contact. This reinforces your confidence and professionalism. The seventh element is active listening, the role of active listening. All right. Let's talk about active listening. Active listening is crucial in a job interview because it shows that you're genuinely engaged and interested in what the interviewer is saying. It's not just about hearing the words, but truly understanding the message and responding appropriately. Demonstrating active listening can set you apart as a thoughtful and attentive candidate. Techniques for active listening. So, how can you show that you're actively listening? Here are some key techniques. Eye contact. Maintain consistent eye contact with the interviewer. This shows that you're focused and paying attention. Nodding. Nod your head occasionally to signal that you understand and agree with what the interviewer is saying. This simple gesture can show that you're engaged. Leaning in. Slightly leaning in towards the interviewer indicates interest and attentiveness. It shows that you're eager to hear more. Verbal acknowledgements. Use small verbal cues like "I see," "exactly," or "that makes sense" to show that you're following along. This reinforces your engagement and the whole conversation. Clarifying questions. If you're unsure about something, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. Phrases like "could you elaborate on that?" Or what do you mean by that? Shows that you're actively processing the information as well. Avoiding passive listening. Let's talk about what not to do. Passive listening can make you seem disengaged or uninterested. Here are some behaviors to avoid. Looking away. Frequently looking around the room or at your phone can make you seem distracted. Interrupting. Cutting off the interviewer mid-sentence shows a lack of respect and attentiveness. Wait for them to finish before responding back. Blank stare. A blank or neutral expression can make you appear disinterested. Make sure your facial expressions match the whole conversation. Showing engagement through questions. One effective way to demonstrate active listening is by asking the thoughtful questions. This not only shows that you're engaged, but also that you're interested in the role and the company. Prepare a few questions in advance, but also be ready to ask follow-up questions based on the conversation. For example, can you tell me more about the team I'll be working with? Or what are the next steps in the hiring process? Reflecting on the interviewer's points. Another technique is to reflect back what the interviewer has said. This shows that you have understood their points and are actively engaged in the conversation. For instance, you mentioned that teamwork is a big part of this role. I have experience working in collaborative environments, and I would love to hear more about how your team operates. The eighth element we have is the overall demeanor, projecting a positive demeanor. Now, let's talk about your overall demeanor. This encompasses everything from your attitude and energy to how you carry yourself throughout the interview. Projecting a calm, confident, and positive demeanor can make you appear more approachable, professional, and enthusiastic about the opportunity. Your overall demeanor sets the tone for the interview and can significantly influence the interviewer's perception of you. Maintaining a positive attitude. First, let's discuss maintaining a positive attitude. Even if you're nervous, it's important to stay upbeat and positive. And here are some tips. Smile often. A genuine smile can go a long way in making you seem friendly and approachable. Smiling also helps to relax your nerves. Stay enthusiastic. Show your excitement about the role and the company. Enthusiasm is contagious and can leave a lasting impression on the interviewer. Positive language. Use positive language when discussing your experience and skills. Avoid negative talks about previous employers or job experiences. Staying calm and composed. Next, let's talk about staying calm and composed. Interviews can be stressful, but managing your nerves is the key. Here are some strategies. The first is the deep breathing. Practice deep breathing exercises before and during the interview to help calm your nerves. Pause before responding. It's just okay to take a moment to gather your thoughts before answering a question. This shows that you're thoughtful and deliberate in your responses. Controlled movements. Keep your movements controlled and deliberate. Avoid fidgeting or making quick, jerky movements, as these can signal nervousness. Showing professionalism. Professionalism is crucial in an interview setting. Here are some ways to ensure your demeanor is professional. Dress appropriately. Ensure that your attire is suitable for the company's culture and the role you're applying for. Being well-dressed shows that you respect the interview process. Be punctual. Arrive on time or even a few minutes early. Punctuality shows that you're reliable and respect the interviewer's time. Politeness and respect. Always be polite and respectful, not only to the interviewer, but to everyone you interact with in the company. Courtesy and manners go a long way.